The third thing is about theory is about intelligent hunch. What is called this intelligent hunch? Sociological theory or social theory are largely based on an intelligent hunch. That means a statement which is given intelligently. So that is called intelligent hunch. That means you try to be calculative when you give a statement. But if you write a particular statement or if you give a particular statement, you need to be quite intelligent in your approach. Intelligent means you must see or you must know what you are going to say or what you are exactly saying, what does it indicate, what kind of message you are interested to pass on. So the message you are interested to pass on, so you must say that. So therefore, it must be said in a very intelligent manner. Everything or anything said in a very intelligent manner can be called theory. So therefore, theory has a characteristics called intelligent hunch, meaning thereby it has a hypothesis, it has a theorem, it has a postulate, it has a systemized assumptions. So all these aspects are scientific in nature. Hypothesis is scientific, theorem is already established facts, postulates are, we very often use this word postulates in our sociological discourse. So then systematized assumptions. Systematized assumption also part of sociological theory. So therefore anything is being said in a very clever manner, in an intelligent manner, and intelligent manner involves a kind of scientific outlook. That means you are cautiously, in a very rigid manner, you tries to communicate or tries to write or tries to express certain things. So therefore, in anything which is being said in an intelligent manner, having a hypothesis or theorem or a orientation towards hypothesis or theorem or a kind of postulate or systematized analysis, that can be called as theory. Any aspects starting from 1 to 3 what we are discussing today, all these aspects are part of theory, or any aspect of it is also theoretical approach. So apart from this, there are 3 other aspects. One is called propositions. You have to make certain propositions which you are going to study. What is called propositions and what is called a proposal? There is a difference between propositions and a proposal. Isn't it? Make a difference and try to find out what is the difference between propositions and proposals. Proposals are part of propositions. That means propositions is scientific, proposals are scientific. But what exactly you narrate in a proposal, that is called propositions. So propositions are scientific in orientations, in nature, having laws, having generalizations. So therefore, propositions is very important. Now, when you make a scientific analysis of any phenomena you are studying as a student of sociology, you try to generalize your findings or your conclusions, or what exactly the outcome of this particular project or the proposals or these propositions. So generalization is very important. Unless until you generalize or you conclude, you can say, unless until you conclude study which you are making in a generalized form in the context of laws, so then it can be part of theories. I tell you one thing, when sociology as a discourse or sociology as a discipline which emerged, and there was a doubts in the mind of founding fathers of sociology, and because they were referring to the natural sciences, and natural sciences has a lot of laws. You must be knowing about Newton's law. So these laws were very much predominant in natural sciences. So therefore, social scientists, while talking about or having established sociology as a discipline, which is largely scientific discipline, therefore they also talked about law, and therefore we call law of 3 stages of Auguste Comte. And there are other people, those who talk about stages of society like Marx, and Durkheim also talks about society in terms of solidarity. So what are these things? Largely they are laws. So they are the laws of the society. That means these are the laws, and these laws came from certain propositions. What is the proposition was all about? The proposition was about make sociology as a scientific discipline. So sociology is a scientific discipline. To make a scientific framework references, we talked about laws. Clear? And on the parallel, you can say that Constitution talk about laws. constitution is referring to a kind of society based on certain assumptions that we the people of India, that talking about a republic, talking about equality, and talking about equality in terms of economic, political, and social. I think these are the laws, again, you can say, and all our procedures in the courts are based on having these constitutional principles. Therefore, the proposition of a society is based on scientific laws, based on scientific framework. Scientific framework doesn't mean that we don't talk about culture, we don't talk about religion, we don't talk about values. We talk about all these things. Now, if you refer to Dr. Ambedkar, he said that equality, liberty, and fraternity, these concepts. Now, I have not borrowed from political science, I have not borrowed from French Revolution, I have borrowed it from religion. See, he is taking all these nuances from religion. So, therefore, ethics, religion, philosophy can give you a proposition, a framework to look at the society or to develop a society in that particular manner. So, therefore, it talks about laws, therefore, it talks about generalizations, it talks about propositions. Without propositions, social theory or sociological theory cannot be cannot be brought about. Certainly, if you are interested to make a study, you must have certain propositions, certain laws, certain generalizations, certain perspective in your mind, then only you can study society, or you can be a student of sociology in a true sense. And you need to inculcate such values as a student of sociology. So, therefore, apart from these propositions, there are certain models also we talk about in sociology. This model framework is part of its theory, and you can develop certain models. Now, we are talking about model village nowadays. What is called the model village? What are the indicators of model village? So, these are the sociological construct. So, therefore, model village notion is linked with based on the social assumptions you have, and you say that this is called Ambedkar village, this is a model village, Lohia village, there are model villages. But in sociological literature also, the notion of model is also very important, and model always talks about a kind of formulations, and the formulations largely may be mathematical in notions, but it can be social in its orientations. So, I talked about model villages. Model villages are taken with certain or conceptualized with certain features. What modern village is all about? Modern village is all about based on certain features, that if these features are there, so on the basis of that we can say the village is a model village. So there are I visited to some northeast village which is said that the cleanest village of the world. There is a cleanest village in the world or in Asia, they say. So if you visit to different part of Asia, you will find this is a village which can be a model again. And of course, we talk about Weberian notion. Weber talk about ideal type. You know that ideal type. So ideal type is nothing but a kind of model. And what he has said these ideal types can be, you can make a comparison of the features which are given as ideal bureaucracy or ideal society. So ideal societies criteria are like this, and what are the societies there? You make a comparison, you can find the nuances or find the differences. So therefore, ideal type is nothing but a kind of model, but these models are based on certain conceptual schemes, are based on certain formulations, or based on certain scientific orientations. So therefore, this can be one of the way to study society, that you can have a model in your mind and go and make a comparison what is there in the social realities, and this comparison itself will make a distinction what you think and what is there. So what you think and what is there, I think on the basis of that, the difference characteristics or the net value can be come out, and on the basis of that you can judge the society. So this is a kind of mathematical formulation you can say about society. Of course, when you do scientific research, we go for mathematical formulations, we make a statistical analysis, we may try to look at the deviations, we can try to deviation in degrees and so on and so forth. And this is a kind of rather a kind of framework which we use to make quantifications of the qualitative data, but quantifications will certainly take you towards further kind of theoretical orientations. So therefore, model is very important. Model may be qualitative, model may be quantitative. But largely here we talk about a quantitative model and quantifications on the basis of which we can talk about deviations, we can talk about deviation in degrees, we can talk about correlation to what extent, and there are other aspects related to what you are taught in social statistics. So therefore, a model is very important, but it's not that compulsory that every scientific analysis will be landed up with a model. It's not like that. You can talk about propositions, you can talk about formulations, you can make a comparison between ideal type and or ideal model with, for example, all the thinkers like Dr. Ambedkar also talked about ideal society. He also given a model to understand ideal society and what are the characteristics of a modern society or a modern idealistic society, which is not quantitative in nature, it is rather is qualitative nature. But on these models, you can make a reference to find out where we are. So I think that is the duty of sociologists, to see or to study the social phenomena or the social life where we are living in. So apart from these models, we talk about ideal type, and while talking about ideal type, we talk about paradigms, we talk about typologies, we talk about continuum, and so on and so forth. There is urban-rural continuum, and there are urban-rural continuum. Apart from that, then tribe-caste continuum, and there are urbanism as a way of life, and nowadays we are talking about globalism, globality, global diaspora. So that means there are ideal notions or ideal type or new conceptual framework to understand society. So therefore, there are many typological analysis of social phenomena. And how do you conceptualize, how do you analyze this typological phenomena? I think that is more important than having a kind of framework of understanding society.